Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where last episode we argued against Menimemo's complete innocence, as while he admitted to the stabbing, he argued that he didn't deal the fatal poisoning that was the true cause of death. However, we figured out the truth of what took place, the stabbing a cover-up designed to hide the real method of death, and the poison delivered by the journalist's fountain pen. Now, having taken down Raiten, we hear his confession as we finish out Susato's victory. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen. Now, I'm pretty sure there was some liquid in the barrel still. It was clear to everyone present. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me, and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Menimemo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journal like me to pass up. Then why did the English woman end up dead? I went into that hut intending to quiz her on a situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face. Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really? You must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian. What did you call me? This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from. That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible. But I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journo spirit, getting all fired up. I'd like to ask you something. Yes? You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought? There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was. A cover-up? What do you mean? I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on. Does this strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away into the sunset a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. He came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Menimemo-san, that you committed murder yourself and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryutaru Naruhodo.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Your Excellency. Just musing in a manly way here.
It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience at the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits.
Oh, Naruhodo-san. Ryunosuke, you mean?
The way you handled the trial 9 months ago and the way you handled this one, it gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land.
That's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Thank you.
So, Prosecutor Aoshi, do you have any final thoughts? Really? Okay.
Prosecutor Aoshi! I, Takatsuchi of the Aoshi clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today. Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end it all now with this blade. For that is the true path to Aochiism! Aochiism?
One hopes that that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness.
Sprig of my topknot, the time is right, but farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takatsuchi.
Oh my god.
I feel for you. Say a prayer for all those last hairs out there. Say a prayer.
Now, in regards to the defendant, Rei Membami-san.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you...
Cherry blossomed.
not guilty. Court is adjourned.
And so it's time to celebrate. But a cover-up, you say? It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing. Lawyers have such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san? Susato! Susato! Thank you so much! You were so dashing in there. Rei and Father! Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh, no, I think I'm going to cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh, no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Rei. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry. We're friends, equals, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind. Caution to the... What? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryutaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. Right, I see. I'll, think about it, Ray. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man, and it felt so good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
I hope you're not looking at me, Ray.
Oh my goodness! No, of course not. Of course not. Ah, there it is at last. Ray's lovely smile.
You fought for your friends the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney, Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Thank you. But I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba now. So, I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame.
What? Who's whatting? What is happening?
Suzeki-san and Inspector Osanaga, I do hope you've been keeping well.
Is that really you?
Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope. But it's me. Susato Mikotoba.
I don't. So dashing, so divine. No. Doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato-san Esquires, that you were locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounding ace attorney.
Poor Suzeki-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense of the Old Bailey, Suzeki-san was free to return to Japan.
Sotsuki.
And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author.
I'm stunned. That's a truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm a chief inspector of the police bureau who came up with this eternal, no less. I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see.
Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector.
Well, I'm a professional, of course.
I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes, I really do. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then, on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. Beaten up just so he can still have his pose. Though that didn't help you, did it, Kazuma-sama?
From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all of this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes, it was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, the man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer.
On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. With Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean.
Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course. Ah, my arch nemesis, how lightly you utter his name.
Well, according to the stories published about him in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence.
I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago
must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born.
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yume University. I'll also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you.
Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you'd collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know. Because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way? Or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Susato? I'm sorry, my dear. I simply can't... Ah! Let me go!
But, Menimemo-san! So, one throw wasn't enough for you?
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor. Me! I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate. Visiting students? Giselle Brett, you mean? No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago.
What? Student of law? He must mean... Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Ah! Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Yujin, and it's a good job I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency.
The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Seishiro Jigoku. And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance. Susato.
Did you know all along, from the start of the trial?
A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk. If Seishiro here hadn't known and then he'd recognized you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So, Seishiro, shall we? Yes. Having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Before you go, Father!
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
What did you think of my Seishiro's thing, eh? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. Ha 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 ha!
Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle Brett, about Dr. Wilson. And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. I'm gonna have to bring this up with Father sometime. When nobody else is around.
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san Esquires, could I have a word?
Oh, yes, of course. Saseki-san. What is it?
I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh?
I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England.
This I have to hear. Please, Saseki-san, tell me at once.
I will! As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent the telegram to you, asking you to return to Japan.
What was it then? The particular part my father was interested in?
I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in?
Of course, I could never forget.
Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case.
The second one? You mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in public?
The one that we obviously haven't seen.
Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions. That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings.
That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that whole business was over, and it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told. Perhaps the story will very soon be told.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
And so our first adventure of our sequel comes to an end. And the rest of the story seems to be opening up. So, with that said and done, will we learn more about this second case for our second case? Let's find out next time on The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. As the mystery that's been built up, not just in one game, deepens. I'll see you guys next time for more. Bye-bye.